Here it's a cold night, it's Christmas Eve. And this isn't so much a sermon as a suggestion of ways to get ready to hear the gospel as you hear and think about what's happening. Having to be where you don't want to be. That must have been true for both Mary and Joseph, summoned there by a census, summoned at a terrible time when you're just about to give birth. Here's Joseph with his new wife. So much is unknown, so much is scary. They have no place to go. When you want to not be where you are, when you're not happy with what's happening to you, how do you treat it? Do you approach with resentment or acceptance? Do you fight it or do you go with the flow? What do you think Mary did? What do you think Joseph did? Things go wrong in life, and this story is of many things going wrong. There isn't a hotel room booked, there isn't a bed and breakfast, there isn't anything left. Joseph's timed it wrong, he's too late, he's got his wife there too slowly. And where's she going to give birth? She's about to give birth, all that jostling on the donkey. Things go wrong. For Joseph, he couldn't prepare for his expectant wife. For Mary, she didn't have her mother there. She didn't have a midwife she knew. She was afraid. It was her first birth. What about being able to hear what's actually going on around you and believe it? Not everyone sees the angels who come to them. Not everyone believes the whispers of God which they hear. Not everyone acts on what they believe. If you had been Mary or Joseph, would you have written this off as foolishness? Would you have written it off as hallucination? Or might you possibly have had a go at believing it and wondering what's really happening? Can you see the angels that come? Can you believe the whispers of God which you hear? Can you act on the whispers of God which you think you may have heard? Towards the end of the story, we hear that Mary treasured up all these things. Do you treasure things up? If you're in prayer, or if you're terribly upset or you're terribly happy, if life is just going well, an ordinary kind of gardening way of life, do you pay attention and treasure up what God has given you? Mary treasured these things up in her heart. If God gave you gold, frankincense, and myrrh, would you treasure them? But do you treasure the love of a child at supper time? Do you kiss those you love? Do you treasure the kiss of those who love you? Before work, the freedom to walk out of your door without fear, the touch of a snowflake on your cheek, the words of a hymn sung softly, the moments of pondering a passage of the gospel, the freshness of a piece of lettuce in December. Do you gather these up and notice them as Mary treasured up all these things? Can you treasure up the presence of God, particularly in the places where you don't want to be, in the moments where you have failed, or in the times when things have gone wrong? Open our eyes to God. God is not there only when everything is correct and tidy. God is there always. God is in this place, in this conversation, in this moment, in the emotions that you might allow yourself to feel as you listen to this service and read the words. God may be in the waiting, as it was for Mary in the waiting that God came. In Bethlehem there were throngs of people that night. Many people would have been aware of the birth of a child, but only some shepherds, Mary the mother, and maybe Joseph the father, saw and understood the burning presence of the divine breaking into life that night. Would I have noticed it? Would you? Pay attention. Pay attention. Open your mind, your heart, and your soul, and pay attention is the teaching of tonight.